Oh man, and y'all know what, y'all? I knew that might happen. I got this new computer. Yeah, it stopped me on the other machine. It stopped me on the other computer. So as I'm getting the hang of this one, oh man, that upsets me. But let me get over to this one. I gotta have a backup plan. All right. Wait, back up, and we're back up. Okay. Um, Man, so yeah, come on back on your thanks. But yeah, you know what? My other computer, I just got this, other computer, and I go on. I call it an other computer instead of a new computer. It's new to me, but I actually got it as a refurbished computer. So it's not new. And yeah, that's what it does. Yeah, Vic, I'm back too. But here we go. So, man, so I was in the process of talking about how important it is that I think that we respect somebody's name. When someone introduces you as who they are, when I introduce myself as, hi, I'm Sporty, then I'm saying to you, call me Sporty. I'm not saying to you, call me Sport, call me Skippy. Like I always like to say, I have a nickname. Don't nick it any more than it is. And so, so that's what I say to you too. Be word sensitive and be name sensitive. When someone introduces you as how they introduce you, and because I'll even get somebody when I say sport, they say sporty. I say, yeah, that's not your real name. It doesn't matter if that's my real name. That's what I just introduced myself as, and I've given you the power to call me that because that's what I respond to. So it's little things like that I think about that a lot of times because I think it affects the relationship. Because believe me, my attitude switches when someone decides that they're not going to call me by my name. See, I've got a problem with that. If I say my name is Sporty and someone says Sporty, that ain't your real name. That's not your business. That's what I've just given you. Like I said, I've empowered you to call me that. So now my attitude changes in a way of where I'm thinking, well, you know what? Now this person wants to, have that much control over me that they will even decide how they will name me. No, I got a problem with that. So if you tell me that you want to be called Boo Boo the Fool, I will address you as Boo Boo the Fool until you decide that I can call you something different. So think about that as we go through this broadcast, but think about it as a year. So because the computer cut off on me, I'll have to repost. What's up, David James? I'll have to repost the message that I had up in the top about how every beginning. Oh, how did I word that? I don't always quote myself exactly. But okay, as we open not just a new year, but our eyes to a new day, what are some of the things that you're excited about and some of the things that you will really start? You see, every beginning is the result of an end, and every end the promise of a new beginning. So let's start the end as an END, exciting new day, and talk about really living it. Okay, so the end is an exciting new day. So if it's a happy new year, well, happy end of the previous year, but here's a new year and it's an exciting new day. So here's what I want to share with you. I want to read through this memo that I found, and then I'm going to go back over it and make some points. And the memo is called "The Day Is Today." The memo is to you, to us, and because the subject is yourself, and the reference is life. Here's the memo. It says, "I am God. Today, I will be handling all of your problems. Please remember that I do not need your help." And you may have heard this before. If life happens to deliver a situation to you that you cannot handle, do not attempt to resolve it. Kindly put it in the SFGTD box, something for God to do. All situations will be resolved, but in my time, not yours. And I decided what I'll do is I'll stop with each part of the memo, because that part of the memo, it says, he says everything will be resolved in my time, not yours. See, God is always on time. It's not God is sometimes good. God is always good. And we'll even say, you know what? He may not come when we want him, but he'll be there right on time. You hear it in a gospel song. Live it in your gospel life. And remember that late, like I'll never say to someone, you know, well, I'm running late. That's something I used to say, but I've decided not to say anymore. I say I'm running. Because see, late is a result, not a prediction. So I don't have to say I'm running late because I may get there in a timely fashion. It depends on what's going on. Sometimes when you rush yourself, you rush yourself out of a blessing or into a challenge. So pace yourself. You know, and that's definitely, if any of you have had a birth anniversary since August, because every August I change my announcement that I send for, you know, when I send someone a birthday message. And I always say, remember that life is not a race, it's a pace. And so always pace yourself and know that all situations will be resolved in God's time, not yours. The memo goes on. It says, once the matter is placed into the box, do not hold on to it by worrying about it. Instead, focus on all the wonderful things that are present in your life now. See, in other words, you know, once the memo has been placed into God's box, worry is an absence of faith. So, you know, worry does not help you with the situation. It won't make the situation go away, and it won't make the situation speed up. Concern, yes, you can be concerned about what we're going to do, what's going to be my new plan, but worry is a strong word that means that you've given up on something. So think about that. So he says, once the matter is placed in the box, do not hold on to the matter by worrying it. Once you've released it to God, you've released it to God. Focus on all the wonderful things that are present in your life now. What are some wonderful things that are going on in your life right now? Go on and put those in the box so that we can have that in the archive, because people need to see the wonderful things that are going on in someone else's life. Sometimes it reminds them, wait a minute, that's going on in my life. And you know, we just don't always perceive or see them as wonderful because they're so little things. See, change is not a big thing. Change is very small. And when these small changes happen in our life, we have to stop and hold on to them and celebrate. But you can't celebrate because you don't recognize. So the memo goes on. It says, if you find yourself, and now this is now talking about how you can't handle stuff. If you find yourself stuck in traffic, don't despair. There are people in this world for which driving is an unheard of privilege. Should you have a bad day at work, think of the man or woman who has been out of work for years. Should you despair over a relationship going bad, think of the person who has never known what it's like to love and be loved in return. In fact, I had a friend of mine say to me last night, she was in a marriage, and her marriage lasted, I think she said it was 12 years. And she said she wasn't bitter that it ended. She said she was excited and fulfilled to realize that she could love someone unconditionally for the amount of time that she did. And can you see what she's saying there? That's saying that for the next relationship, she can go into the next relationship knowing I can do this. Because that's sometimes the challenge in a relationship, not just the marriage, but in a relationship with someone that I don't know if I can really be with this person, and I don't know how long I could. Yeah, she says, no, I know that I could be loyal and committed to a relationship for 12 years. And that's a great realization that she has about herself, because that's what you have to do, is realize what you are bringing to the relationship. See, if you go in saying, well, hey, I think I can make it through a month or two, but I don't know if this is going to go a year. And you don't say that to the person, you say it to your friends. You know, sometimes there's a way of guarding your feelings, and so that you don't look foolish if it doesn't work out. See, those are the things that we need to stop doing. I'm willing to say, yes, I can stay in a relationship X amount of time. For instance, I worked at the Wall Street Journal for 18 years. Now I know I could work someplace for 18 years, but guess what? I've been in my speaking business for 25. I know that I can do a quarter of a century. And you know what? I've been in my life for 64. I know that I can be happy and I can be sporty for 64. Who knows how many of those years I lost sight of who I was, but I came back to being who I was. And that's what you can do. So there's one of the things that you can celebrate. And again, I thank her for saying that to me. She was able to celebrate that she was in the relationship that long. So even if you're in an adulterous relationship, celebrate the fact that you were not the adulterer. So that was, therefore, once you end that relationship, number one, you don't have to be mad at the person. They couldn't do it. It's not necessarily that it was you, oh, they didn't want to be with you. No, they may not have been able to stay in that monogamous relationship for X amount of time. God knows why. Remember, this is God's day. This is his memo. So God's memo goes on to say, should you grieve the passing of another weekend? Think of the woman in dire straits, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to feed her children. Should your car break down, leaving you miles away from assistance? Think of the paraplegic who would love the opportunity to take that walk. You see how he's turning negative into positives? Should you notice a new gray hair in the mirror? Think of the cancer patient in chemo who wishes he or she had hair to examine. Should you find yourself at a loss and pondering what life is all about, asking, what is my purpose? Be thankful. There are those who didn't live long enough to get the opportunity. See, even people in their 80s say life is too short. Haven't so many of us said that when someone dies, oh, they're gone too soon. Yeah, so if you find yourself at a loss and pondering what is life is all about, asking what is my purpose, be thankful. There are those who live long enough to get the opportunity. Some people never got a chance to be a teenager. Someone didn't get a chance to be in their 20s. For those of you, and this is your personal choice, who want to hijack, well, I don't want to tell nobody I'm in my 40s and my 50s. There are people who didn't make it to their 40s and didn't make it to their 50s. If you have a 50th anniversary of births that scheduled this year, you'll get a message from me saying happy first half century. Because see, celebrate what it is. 50 years is a half a century. We're not, even on the books in the Bible, they don't say we're going to get 100, but they say we're going to get 70. Man, you got 50. So you can either say, I got a half 100, or I got 2/3 almost out of the books. Okay, over 2/3, because 2/3 would be, 2/3 of 50 would be 2/3 of 75. Damn, you got to do the math. So the final thing in God's memo, it says, should you find yourself the victim of other people's bitterness, ignorance, smallness, or insecurities, remember, things could be worse. You could be one of them. So what he's saying is, there's a saying, what somebody else's negative opinion of me is none of my business. If you find somebody who, they're bitter towards you, they don't like what you did, and they're ignorant. Now, by the way, let's not let ignorance, remember I said control your vocabulary, don't let your vocabulary control you. Ignorance does not necessarily mean stupid. It means a blockage of knowledge. There could be something they don't know. So sometimes a person who you think is ignorant just may not have all the facts. So don't automatically, don't you go negative. Oh, dang, they don't know. No, don't you go negative. Say, well, you know what? Let me give them more information and see if that can change things. Because flip that coin. When you're the person who doesn't know, and if someone comes at you, it's like, oh, you're stupid, you didn't know that, you get defensive. You're now not willing to learn from that person. But if you offer an empathetic ear and say, oh, you didn't understand that? Here, let me help you with that. Now that person won't feel as bad about what they didn't know, and they might let you know something else they didn't know that is even more crucial to getting the decision made. If someone is small, and that small, by small, that's meaning judgmental. If someone is judging you, based on face value, what they see about you, and what they're doing is comparing you to someone else who you have brought about a memory. Recognize that even though this is saying that someone is small and you want to ignore it, smallness, as is judgmentalness, as it's being judgmental, is not necessarily a negative person. It's someone who, if I've been hurt by someone that looks like you, then fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So therefore, I may seem small because I'm judging you based on how someone who looked like you or you remind me of treated me, and I don't want to have that happen to me again because I don't want to relive that pain. So again, it's the empathy. Can you find a way to break that gap and recognize, well, this person is not the same as the person who scammed me, and let that person come around the wall and have a chance to be more open. See, we want people to be open to us, but sometimes we close ourselves to them. And lastly, if someone else has an insecurity, see, because a lot of times if they're insecure, then they pour it over onto you. See, you make me, I got people, because I'm in such a, people see me in a positive mode. Some people don't like that. Who the hell are you to always be positive? Some people don't like that. That's their insecurity. So that's not my problem, because you can't see the bright side of it. It's not incumbent upon me to not see the bright side and to come up with some negativity about it. I'm just not going to do it. And I do say to you, I'm not up 365, 24/7. I'm not positive all the time, but I'm positive more than I'm negative. I'm up more than I'm down. I'm going forward more than I'm going back. And there's never anything wrong with going backwards. Just reframe that vocabulary and say, I'm not going backwards. I'm stepping back and taking a look at my work, looking at what I've accomplished so that I can smile and encourage myself that I'm worthy of taking another step. And what do you know me to always say about that? Trust your track record. Laugh at your lack record. If you've never heard me say it before, trusting your track record means look at what you've done and recognize that there was a time where you had a lack record. There was something you said, well, I can't do that because I don't have this. In other words, I can't get here because I lack this. And guess what? You still got there. You still got here. So get the thing that was on your lack list, you actually didn't need it. And so now you can laugh and say, I thought I needed that to get this, but I didn't. All I needed to do was trust myself that I could make it. And if you're job hunting, whether you have a job or not, remember the thing that you want to do when you get a new job is mentally see yourself in the position already. They may have, if you see the job listing, it may have 5 requirements. And you say, I got this, I got that. Oh man, I don't have this. And you self-eliminate. I don't qualify. I don't have the 5 things. If you reread the fine print, which is usually not really fine print, it says ideal candidate will have these 5 things. So if we could get everything we want, they'll have these 5. So if you got 4 out of the 5, or even 3 out of the 5, or maybe 1 out of the 5, it's really up to you. Because now think about it. Once you interview, what's the interview going to be about? Whichever one of those 5 things you don't have, that's what the interview is going to be about. Think about that. See, so if you've got 4 out of the 5, if one of the things you don't have is the experience, well, guess what? That's the interview is about. Well, what would make you think you can do this job without that type of experience or background? So now you will have already decided, well, I don't have that experience, but here's what I have that's going to replace that experience so I can get the experience. See, it's about recognizing that today is about you. Focus on your power. Focus on your track record. What have you done to get where you are? What have you done to not have a happy new year, but to have a happy new end, an E-N-D, an exciting new day? What are you so excited about that's a part of you that you bring into this world, because you're an important piece of the puzzle for all of us? What are you bringing us? So that's what you want to think about, and just to use that as the big scope, whether it's your interview for a job, but you're interviewing to be in people's lives as well. Every relationship doesn't have to be a paying one. It's even if in volunteer work. You're interviewing to be associated with people. So think about what you bring to them, and don't self-eliminate. Be excited about what you bring into the world. So that's the memo. If those of you who got on after we started, and I said it is the memo, and the memo is the date is today. That memo is something that you can use for every day, and it's to you. If the subject is you and the reference is life, and the real final, again, God, I am God. Today I will be handling all of your problems. Please remember that I do not need your help. So see if you can, as much as you want to label it as 2020 resolutions, make your resolution on a daily basis. And always decide that it's happy new day. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it because I've made it so far. And you've made it not only so far as in time, you've made it so far as in distance. Give yourself credit. God wanted you to be here, and you're here, and you're making a difference in somebody else's life. So I'm going to come to the end of this broadcast. But I want to again remind you, the end is an E-N-D. It's an exciting new day. Every beginning has an end, and every end is the promise of a new beginning. What will you really be celebrating this day that will help you make it through the week, the month, and the year? My name is Sporty King. This is Glue Wednesday. I'll be back next week. Thank you so much for joining in. And it's good to see all of these names and some names I haven't seen in a while. Pat, good to see you back. Ken, thank you for joining. Ken's got a real wonderful book about being positive. Paulette, yep, just finished, I think, because we just had your birthday a couple of weeks ago. So thank you. Good to see you, Kevin. Baby Love. Baby Love Hearts. I think that's Lori. Okay, I owe you, Baby Love, because I might not know. What's up, Linda? Love you and glad to see that. Remember a couple of broadcasts ago, I messed up on Brittany's name. All right, I got that now. And hey, what's going on, Lester? Glad to see you as well. Peggy, make sure you tell Marty I said hey. And when, hey, Wendy, oh, wow, thank you. Good to see you. I just finished writing, because I got a card from oh, God, my God, look at the brain when the brain goes away. Okay, where is it? Okay, anyway. Okay, yeah, just finished enjoying my Christmas card. Oh, no, Wendy. That's why I was thinking Chrissy. This girl's name is Chrissy also. But hey, Wendy, what's up? And I guys, I posted about Jackie the other week. So good to see from you too. Okay, hey, if I didn't say your name, that doesn't mean I don't love you. Thanks for joining the broadcast, and y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless you. Ciao. And remember, if there's ever a topic you want to discuss, put it in the comments or send me in the inbox. Please go to sportyking.com. Check out my website. See what kind of inspirational products might be able to help you get through the next day. And sign up to receive my fun letter, a monthly fun letter. It's archived on the site. But if you want reminders of when it goes up, you can send me an email and I'll make sure I let you know. All right, over and out for real this time. Ciao.